Hello folks, it is time for some more Hobby Nightmares, and yes, we do have some new B-roll today. Isn't that fantastic? If you like what I do, like the video. It does wonders for me on the channel, and it makes sure that more people can watch Hobby Nightmares. Now, I have my own retail Hobby Nightmare today, but it's not really a Hobby Nightmare, although it is if you think riding a bike is considered a hobby. I'm going to get into that, and then I'll get into Cromwell's, because Cromwell's is also very good, and his is more focused on the hobby. But I thought I'd just come on here and have a little bit of a rant on my own time, because, you know, it's my show. Who's going to stop me? Who's going to stop me? What am I doing? What is my mouth? What are my words? So, this weekend, I took my little girl to go and get her first bike. And as you know, little girls and bikes are, shall we say, it's a big thing. It's a big time. You know, you go and get your first bike. It's a memory that you have forever. I went to a store in the city. I'm not going to mention the name of the store. I walked in, and she's already pretty, tired because she went and hurt her arm on a trampoline the other day, and as you do. And so she's just like, oh, really, really not feeling it. We walk in, and I'm thinking, you know what, a bike, it'll just cheer her up. She's ready to go. She's always wanted a bike, and here we go. So we walk in, walk up to the till, and we're walking around, and we're looking for a bike, and she sees one that she likes. It's this pink thing with polka dots on it. She's a girl. What are you going to do? I was trying to get her over to the big blue and purple one that said Exile on the side of it. Yeah, that was cool. Tried to get her over to that. Wasn't interested. Pink one with a basket for her teddy bears. Fair enough. So we get that one to the till, and the guy says, all of a sudden it gets really busy in there. By the way, it was really, really, really quiet, and all of a sudden, bang, really busy. And I'm looking around, and and I see a few guys from the hobby store in there too, and they're in there. And they're in there getting a few sealant, because they sell really good sealant spray for their models. So they're in there getting some stuff for them. And they take me over and they show me some of their models that they're working on in the corner of the store. One of the clerks comes over and tells us, stop what you're doing, please. Put those away. You're not meant to be on store premises. You're not meant to sell things on store premises that aren't, don't sell anything. Don't solicit people. And I'm like, dude, they're just showing me the models. I'm not buying them. It's fine, But anyway, that weirded out a few people. Have you guys ever had that where you do something hobby-ish around normies and they get a bit weirded out by it? I don't know. Anyway, I waved those lads goodbye and went back over to my missus and my daughter, who is in the midst of pointing out the bike that she wants. The guys go, okay, we can go and build that bike for you, but it might not be here till Monday. And I'm thinking, oh God, she's already having a bad day. She's really set on this bike now. If I say to her she can't have this bike, that's the rest of the day ruined. You know how kids are, right? It's just going to not go very well. So I'm like, oh, dude, could you just do me a solid? Is there any way you can get it done today? And this guy, legend, was like, do you know what? Let me make a call. And he called somebody downstairs, said, listen, I know you're doing something else, but drop what you're doing. Fair enough, you don't need to finish that. Come upstairs and build this bike for me. And they did. It was awesome. So they started building the bike in the back, and I'm walking around the shop. They say it's going to be about 45 minutes. No problem. I say to my daughter, hey, do you want to go play in the arcade for a while, for 45 minutes? And she's getting really tired at this point. She's like, no, I just want to get my bike now. I'm like, okay, good luck changing a kid's mind, by the way, when they're this laser focused on something. So I'm like, do you know what? We can hang around. It's okay. No worries. Only for the manager to come out again and say, I'm really sorry. There are these bolts, right? And without them, we can't put stabilizers on your child's bike. And my daughter doesn't want to use a bike without stabilizers just yet, which is fair enough, right? She's not old enough yet. So I'm like, okay, are these bolts common? And he goes, yeah, I don't know why we don't have any. We should have hundreds. I'm like, okay, that's not helping. All right, where can I get them from? He says, oh, you can go and get them from the shop down the road. So I rush down the road, I go and get them, and I come back, right? I give them over to him, and he says, right, we'll go get this built for you right now. Brilliant. Half an hour goes past. We're walking around the store. An hour goes past. We're walking around the store. An hour and a half goes past, and my daughter is about to, like, throw a right wobbler in the center of this store. I'm telling you now, she's done. She is done. And I'm just like, I keep suggesting to go to the arcade, to do something else, whatever, while she waits. But she doesn't trust these people not to screw up her order. And do you know what? She was kind of right. So, manager goes away and does something else. He's been very helpful this entire time. And one of his staff comes out with the bike and starts fitting the stabilizers, only for him to give up halfway through, look at me and say, this bike can't have stabilizers on it, sorry. Like, what? Yeah, this bike can't have stabilizers on it. Look, I've tried to put them on. Look, it's either wobbly or it's too high and the back wheel doesn't go on the floor. I'm like, right, okay. Well, your manager said, yeah, I don't know why he told you that, because it doesn't work. So, you know, I'll refund you for the stabilizers. Okay, but you still want the bike? And I'm like, yeah, I still want the bike, because if I don't give my child a bike now, she's going to absolutely blow a fuse, you know? So I get the stabilizers returned, and I go over with the bike, and things are going well. She's really excited, until she notices there's no stabilizers on the bike. And she's like, I can't ride it without my stabilizers. Like, I don't know how to do it. And I'm too young to, like, and I know she's right. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. I know, I'm sorry. Look, do you know what? I know there are aftermarket stabilizers that I can get, so I said to her, let's go get some of those. We'll take this home with us now, and I'll go order those tonight. I'll get some aftermarket stabilizers, no problem. I said, oh, you know, she's really upset, really annoyed, but we got her outside. It was fine. We're walking back to the car, okay? My hobby friends are still there, and they're going to the hobby store, because they're about to have a good time. Because the hobby store in this part of the world is in the same shopping, you know those outdoor shopping centre things, you know what I mean? Like, there's like a retail park, one of those. And they're going into the hobby store, and I really want to go with them, because there's a tournament going on, and I really want to take some photographs. Anyway, I wave them goodbye, and we go back to the car, and the manager of the store, the bike store, is there. And he says, hey guys, wait, weren't you supposed to have stabilizers on that bike? And I was like, yeah, your guy said, you know, and he said, no, that's not right. That bike can take stabilizers. I fit them all the time. Come with me. And I said, okay, no problem. So I'm thinking, problem solved. This is great. We walk back inside. He goes back to the till. And he literally, I've never seen a retail manager do this in my life, right? He dresses down, not the guy who gave me the wrong advice, but the two lads who have been there for 5 years who should have known better, because they watched him struggle and then watched him return my stabilizers to, you know, as a refund. When they know, he's like, 20mm stabilizers go on 20mm bikes, you both know this. You've been here for 5 years, this is the first thing you learn. You mean to tell me, and one of the other lads walks in, when they've walked off, one of the other lads walks in, as he's sorting out my bike, he's literally putting stabilizers on the bike himself. This is a guy in a suit. He's in a suit. And he's putting on the stabilizers himself. And he's talking to me, having a little chat, and we're getting on just famously, right? One of the other lads comes in who works there and smiles at him going, what are you doing there? And he looks up and looks at this guy, who's been there the longest, by the way, and goes, what are you smiling at? And he's like, what? What are you smiling at? Were you here when our trainee took that order from this gentleman before and told him he couldn't use stabilizers on the bike? And he's like, yeah, I was, yeah. And you didn't think to, like, step in and sort this out and teach him how to do it? You let him return it? Now we've got a little girl outside crying, really upset, because she didn't get her bike. Alright? Stress for everybody, and I don't want to be running 2 store floors at the same time. That's why you're here. Go and take your break, please. I was like, oh! Oh! Wow! And I was like, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... And he's like, mate, it's not your fault. He said, do you know what he said to me? He said, I take customer service very seriously. As everybody should in specialist hobby places like this. This is a specialist hobby store, right? You're supposed to take customer experience very seriously. And I'm really sorry about that. And do you know what? He gave me those stabilizers back and didn't ask me to buy them again. He said, no, they're free. Don't worry about it. And I got the bike I wanted for my kid, and we went home, and everything was honky-dory from then on in, and we went home. And yeah, but that was one stressful day, and that was the day. But that shows you, in a hobby store, the kind of things you're supposed to be doing, right? That's the standard. What he was doing there, that's the standard of working in a hobby store. For me, anyway. If it's a store that I run, or a business that I go to, that's the standard. And that is a standard that Games Workshop, pulling this back into our kind of the hobby, Games Workshop fails at that standard all the time. All the time. So hats off to that guy, gentlemen. If you are watching, if you do watch this, then thank you very much. He did me a solid there. And brilliant stuff. Anyway, moving on to Cromwell's retail nightmare now. And he says, "Hello, Cromwell here again with another hobby nightmare. This time, it is not a terror from the tabletop, but rather some experiences I had as a shift supervisor at my local game store. These are doozies." Alright, can't wait for this. Let's go. I am currently drinking, it is like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm drinking a vodka with a Pepsi Max and 2 really big ice cubes. So, you know, it's a good day. It's a good day. While I was finishing my master's degree, I started working at a local game store that had just opened a second location close to where I was living. I was a long-time customer of this business and was excited to have a job where I could have some fun for a change. I had gone through several jobs throughout my undergraduate studies whilst I was trying to make ends meet and figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. All of them were stressful, but rewarding. The jobs included working as a teacher in an inner city school, oh my god, working as a residential care manager in the mental health field, dude, you love stress, and as a salesman for a marketing company, wow. Yeah, you. I was burnt out, I'm not surprised, and needed a change if I was ever to finish my master's degree. So, working at the shop was a nice break and it scratched my hobby itch during a time when my free time was limited. The work was great for the most part, the pay was marginally better than what I had expected, and I eventually became a shift supervisor. My co-workers and I were tight, and I'm still pretty close with all of them. If money wasn't an issue, I would go back and work there in a heartbeat. The shop was in a pretty nice area, and was well centralised between several local businesses and restaurants. We were good neighbours to all of the nearby businesses as our customers would regularly shop or eat there during our events, and likewise, they would send their customers over during the holiday season when parents and grandparents were shopping for gifts and for ideas. All of this is to say, it was a very good situation. I had something similar. There was a Harry Potter style cafe up the road from my Games Workshop, and I would send them people all of the time. Parents, I'd send parents up there when they had their kids come and play games in the store. They would go and have a coffee, chill out, have a chat with each other. I would get my cake for store anniversary from there. I'd be in there all the time on breaks. My customers would go up there all the time on breaks from the games and stuff. And they, in turn, they were a geeky shop, so if they saw somebody wandering with a Warhammer bag, they'd send them straight to me. Because I was down a little alcove, do you know what I mean? They couldn't really see where my store was. So they would make sure that they knew where I was, and I got lots of really cool customers from them. So it is very good to build your relationships with businesses around you, especially when they're similar, or they're symbiotic in ways, you know what I mean? We very rarely had problem customers beyond a few people who could just be generally annoying. The one exception being, of course, the OG Jensen. Yeah, the original one, man. Cromwell is the guy who started the Jensen thing, if you want to know. A man so bad that he has an entire section of the Hobby Nightmares named after him. We were a regular hangout for a lot of different groups in the community, and as a result, we got to know people really well. One time we got a call from an elderly woman asking if we sold elves in the store. My co-worker asked what she was specifically looking for, and she just said, and I quote, "I need to buy elves. Little elves that are like an inch tall or so. Do you have them?" Unquote. That's a typical parent thing to say. Yeah, we have elves for miniature games. What are you using them for? He asked. It's none of your business. I just need elves, and I'm coming to your store now. Great, we'll see you when you get here, he said. She hung up on him, and he shrugged. Weird. Secret elves for the old woman, I guess. She eventually got to the shop and was mortified to see our beholding hanging our beholder, hanging from the ceiling and our goblin statue on the door. My co-worker approached her. "Hello, what can I help you with today?" he asked. I called about the elves. "Where are the elves?" He walked her over to the miniatures wall, and the look on her face was the most hateful thing I've ever seen. "Here they are, and we have others over." "Those are not elves," she yelled. "Those are degenerate little freaks." Well, she's not wrong. If she's in front of Dark Eldar, she's not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. Yeah, yeah. What? My co-worker asked. "I drove an hour to get here, and all you have are these little freaks." "You lied to me. You don't have the elves I need. These are not the elves. These are little demons. This store is horrible, and you should be ashamed for lying to an old woman." "Ma'am, what are you talking about? I remember taking your phone call, and I tried to ask you what you needed them for. These are the elves we have." "You are going to ruin my Christmas. You know that, right? I needed elves for my Christmas decorations, and..." Yeah. Sorry. "I needed elves for my Christmas decorations, and now I don't have them because you tried to sell me these little freaks. These are not elves. They are little freaks." How are you keeping a straight face? I've worked in retail, man. I could not keep a straight face. "Oh, Christmas elves. Why didn't you say so over the phone?" "We don't sell them here." At this point, I was at the counter, stifling a laugh. I cannot stress how genuinely infuriated this woman was. Full on yelling in the store and stamping her feet. My co-worker was also struggling to keep a straight face. "Well, here's the bright side, ma'am," he said. "There's a Hobby Lobby just 1 block away. I bet they have what you need." "I am never coming back here again. You are all liars. I hope you go out of business." She stormed out of the store and peeled out of our parking lot. The store was empty, so we allowed ourselves to have a big laugh about it. One of my favourite parts of the situation was that this wasn't even near Christmas time. It was like August or September. Yeah, dude, if you get ready for Christmas before Halloween, you're a nut job. You're a nut job. My missus is a freak for Christmas. She just loves Christmas. She loves it, right? And even she, if it's before Halloween, she goes, "No, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Even like November, she's kind of like, Towards the end of November, though, oh my god, she turns into a different animal. Lads, you know what I mean. You've all got, most of you have got wives and girlfriends, you know what I mean. They turn into these, like, little gremlins around Christmas. Oh, God. One of my favourite parts of the situation... Okay, to this day, every time one of my friends has an elf miniature, I just point at them and say, "That is not an elf. That is a little freak. You have ruined Christmas." One of the funniest customer experiences I've ever had. A few days later, however, I had a much scarier experience. Oh my god, keep them coming, man. I'm going to read this next one, but keep them coming, Crom. These are great. Oh. Vodka. Right. Friday nights were usually one of our busiest times of the week, as we hosted a massive weekly board game club. I was working the front and we happened to be short-staffed that day, so it was just me and the big boss who was working from the back. Not really an issue. This would happen every once in a while, and our Friday night crowd were pretty self-sufficient. As people walked in, I greeted them with the usual greetings and made small talk with our regulars. Eventually, I made my way back behind the counter as several customers were ready to check out. I noticed this new guy that I didn't recognise enter the building, who walked straight to the line without picking up anything from the shelf. Not really that odd though, I suppose. A lot of people were here just for the card games, which would keep behind the counter. He eventually got to the front of the line. "Hi, can I help you with anything?" I said. The guy looks at me with a confused stare. Do you guys deal in cryptos or buy NFTs? I was used to this question as we got it a lot for some reason. No, we don't do anything like that. We sell board games and trading cards. He muttered something under his breath, so I asked if there was anything else I could do to help, and he looked back at me with a very vacant stare. He started to lean over the counter and started speaking very softly, almost a whisper. I quote, "They were after me, man. I was up the street and I watched them kill a bunch of people. They gotta know I mean business. I'm gonna kill everybody in this store." Unquote. Wow. Wow. I heard him say all of this and genuinely didn't register what he just said, as a lot of it was incoherent. I am also nearly deaf in my right ear, so I often mishear things when I was convinced that I had just completely misheard something else. Hey, sorry man, I'm actually deaf in my right ear and I didn't catch any of that. Would you mind repeating that a little louder and slower? How has he not just murdered you on the spot? He grunted and then repeated what he had said again. Still soft, but I definitely understood him this time. I tried to see if he had a weapon or anything, but I couldn't tell. He had both of his hands on the counter, so at the very least, if I had to, I could defend myself if need be. Hey buddy, I'm so sorry, I don't know why, but I seriously can't hear you. I think it's my sinuses. Could you say that one more time, just a bit louder for me? He got this really confused look on his face. I'm not playing, man, I'll do it. By this point, the people did start to notice something happening at the counter, and there were a couple of people behind him in the line who definitely heard what he said. Sir, I understand that you are frustrated and that I can't understand you. Please be patient with me so I can help you. Repeat everything you just said one more time, and I will see how I can help you. I gave one of the regulars the help eyes, and saw him run into the back of the store to get the big boss. I'm not playing. I'm going to kill you and everybody in this building. At this point, he had just shouted it, so the whole store knew what was going on. He got eyes wide as he realised everybody had heard him, and people were starting to pull out their phones to call 911. Good. My boss walked out around the store, on the phone with the police. At this point, I had to channel all of my de-escalation training from my time as a mental health worker. I smiled and spoke to him in my best customer service voice. Well, great. I understand now, sir. Thank you for letting me know. I'm not sure how I can help you with that. I would recommend you try another place of business. As I told you, we sell board games and trading cards here. I hope you find what you're looking for, though. He looked around and then bolted out of the store and sprinted into the bank across the street. My boss stayed on the line with the cops, and 3 minutes later, we saw it surrounded by squad cars. One of the cops came in and had me give him a statement. Apparently, this guy had just had a mental break after doing a bunch of drugs. He then went on to sink his dad's car into a lake and had been running all over town since then, going into stores and threatening to kill people and then running away. That's at Liverpool. He was moving so quickly that the cops would just miss him by the time they arrived at the scene. When he went back into the bank, they just hit the silent alarm and the cops were already ready for him. Fortunately, nobody had been hurt. I finished my shift and went home. My boss called and we debriefed, and he told me to take the day off, and the next day too. We did find out from the police a few days later that the guy had been seen by mental health professionals and that he was sorry for what he did. The moral of the story, therapy is good and drugs are bad. Anyway, that's it for me. Till next time. Cheers, dude. Send more in, man. Send more in. I love these. These are absolutely awesome. Awesome stuff. Alright, we'll do one more, and then we'll call it there. So Jason says, let me take a little sip of my little voddy vod here. Oh, glorious. Jason says, Hi North, I trust you are doing well and stocked up on tea and biscuits. Tea, yes. Biscuits, no. Not allowed them. My own nightmare is one I think a number of people will face. For context, I have been building and painting Warhammer models and others, tanks, planes, etc. for over 4 years, and mainly sell what I build on eBay. I have included some examples for you. Alrighty, let's have a little look. These better be good if you're getting in the way of my Space Marine footage. Just saying. Let's have a little look. Oh. Okay. Right. Nurgle Baneblade. It takes balls to convert a model that's this expensive. It really does. Imperial Fists Kratos. Oh, now he's just showing off. Look at him. Right, these are pretty nice, to be fair. Oh, my days. Paint that in Iron Warriors colours and you've got a really nice looking model. It is nice looking, I'm just busting your balls. Knight Dominus. I think. Isn't that Knight Dominus? Am I right? Looks like one. Oops. What do we have next? Rogel Dawn. The tank Rogel Dawn, not the actual Rogel Dawn. Trust Rogel Dawn's battle tanks look better than Lehman Russ's, just saying. Very nice. We've got next Chaos Knight Rampager, I think. Awesome, man. Dude, these models are sick. Really, really good. One last one. We'll do one last one, then I'll carry on with your nightmare. It's Abaddon the Despoiler. Excellent. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Lovely. Alright. Let me read the rest of your nightmare here. My problems come from wanting to play. Around me are 2 Warhammer stores, multiple alternate sellers and other resources for playing. I am on multiple Discord channels for these places, but I'm really finding it tough to get help in starting to play. I think my issue is that I need to learn how to play, and people that do play are not really wanting to teach me. It may be partly because the cause of this, I may be partly the cause of this, because I built a 2,000 point Dark Angels army. Images again included. The army was very competitive, as I asked around and have a decent following on Reddit, whenever I post my models and get decent feedback on them. I asked for guidance and built my army following that. In doing so, I believe I have come across as massively aggressive in my approach, as fielding a beginner army that is balanced and powerful is not something people want to teach against. I ended up selling that army as I was getting nowhere and I've been looking for other options. I have a tabletop simulator and need to get started in there, but as I am building a new army, Death Guard Nurgle led by Mortarion, and having a Demon Prince and Typhus as backup, time is an issue for me. This is mainly to sell, as I realise I may be the problem here, as above. I don't think you are, man. No, I don't think you are. I think you are. I think you need to temper your expectations. The best place to learn how to play the game is to go to a professional. Go into a store. Ask one of the people working at the store. And don't start with 2,000 point games. Okay? Here's what you're doing. You're being really inflexible, it seems to me. You're saying, I've got this army that I'm going to use. I want to learn how to play the game. No, that's not how you do it, right? You take 500 points of that force, and you play with that for half an hour. You don't waste people's time. They teach you the basics of the game, and then you start introducing more models as weeks go by, and you're getting more games and more games and more games. And at the end of that month, when you played 3 or 4 games, smaller games, you're ready for your 2,000 point game. Right? That's what you do. You shred down your list size. I know you've got all the stuff. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You learn with a small army, and you build it up from there. I would not want to teach somebody 40k at a 2,000 point level. That sounds like a nightmare and a wasted afternoon to me. And I'm sure it sounds that way to them as well. Right? Shorten down your list. Make it 500 points. Make it nice and fluffy. Right? Realize that these people are giving up their time to help you and teach you. So you should be flexible. They're giving up their time. You need to give up your army and say, look, okay, I won't use this 2,000 point death list. Right? That's my suggestion to you. Anyway, given the new Kill Team release is due soon, do you think that would be a better place to start, as you cannot go too hard in there, and there's plenty of scope for a variety? No, man. I mean, you can play Kill Team. That would solve your problem. But you can play 40k. Just stop being so inflexible about using your entire army the first time round. Alright? Because I'm telling you now, other players have had the same thought. They've gone, what? I'm not teaching you how to play 40k on a 2,000 point list. We're going to be here all day. No. Alright? I already have Gallo Dark and Into the Dark. I also have a wide range of official terrain, so I can field a lot of nice custom layouts as needed. I personally believe this would be the way to go, as I may get more traction. Maybe. I also have Blackstone Fortress, which I need to finish painting. I bought this halfway through reading the excellent book series. Audible for the win, I suppose. I wonder what your thoughts are regarding this as an intro path. One of the places near me hires gaming tables and rooms and sells coffee, tea, cocktails, food, etc. So you can settle in for a decent night of gameplay, so neutral ground is easy to find. I welcome your thoughts. Thanks, Jason. Well, dude, I've given you my thoughts, right? You need to go in there with a small force of 500 to 1,000 points max, right? And be ready to learn. Okay? Then you will get people who want to teach you. They will be fine with that. Because those games are small enough that they can teach you and still get a game or two in that night as well. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I would do if I were you. And if that all else fails, then yeah, go start a Kill Team group, get those people together and have some fun doing that. Alright? That's what I would do. Alright, I love you a long time. I will speak to you very, very, very soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll speak to you tomorrow for another 40k rant. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you soon. Bye now.